You do not need a brilliant Nigerian to win a debate. If the topic says peace no longer exists, all you need to do is support the motion and you will win, even without words. For crying and wailings are better as words. Peace is a relative word, but no one can paint metaphors while describing its inexistence better than we Nigerians. If Nigeria was a book, then an eraser would be all would need to clean up the innocent blood that have flooded our pages. Our pages that now sing songs of pierced peace and armed harmony. If Nigeria was a book, then a pencil would be all would need to change a story for good. We just write on a cover, oneness, love, joy, peace, and unity. But Nigeria is not a book. Nigeria is a mother, an incapacitated mother that weeps day and night because she's filled with fright. She has lost the children that weaned on her breast. She's the 58-year-old woman that daily sleeps but never vests, for even with her eyes tightly closed, she can see. She can see the nightmare that her children have become. If Nigeria was a book, then it would be one the eyes would be scared to marry because she has shed enough blood to soak even a library. Nigeria is not a book. Nigeria is our fatherland, where the simple seeds of surplus pruned and planted, made available for her to harvest, has been perverted. The cows have suddenly become first-class citizens who cannot be milked. The honey is still available, but well, only to those with enough money. If Nigeria was a book, listen, then every chapter will stop in half, because our government never completes any project. Nigeria is not a book. Nigeria is our identity, and we shall continue to wear our grey with shame till the day we wake up and stop holding the hopeless rope of hope open. Hoping that one day God would magically answer our prayers, till the day that we know that faith without work is dead, till the day we begin to simultaneously sort out this algebra from the right angle without subtracting any sector, till the day we make enemies with division, adding every tribe in unity, till the day we put aside our variations and begin to solve our problems in sequence, till the day we know that although we should rely on the Almighty's formula, our sincere effort is still equally needed to drive us to our destination. Today we know that it is you and I that have to wake up and fight for the Nigeria of our dreams. Till that day, Nigeria will continue to be a story that isn't worthy of finding shelter in a home called a book.
In the beginning, there were words. Words that came together in rhythmic embrace to give birth to sentences. Sentences that bedded paragraphs, that bedded pages after pages of this book called life. Let me tell you a story. The story of a land so vast that people speak in tongues. They built monuments and towers out of their doubts, hoping they would find salvation in something much more than the silence of God. So they turned to the gushing sound of blood escaping thirsty throats, the exotic cackle of skulls cracking and caving to the hammers of segregation and extremism. They seek to find their God in the yet-to-be-developed nipples of schoolgirls. In the beginning, before the beginning, there was silence. The same kind of silence our mothers exchange their wedding gowns for. Never speak while your husband is talking. If he is a raging elephant, then you be the submissive grass that he tramples upon for life. Let me tell you another story. The story of a land mysterious, where the living die for the death of dead things and the dead, who thought they could find peace in their rest only to discover that hell is just a metaphor, and heaven is 100 feet beneath the ground the living are dying to live. The dead gather at the break of dawn to mourn the life they never lived. Truth, Vala Mogules, all men shall die. Tragic, not all men that are dead have lived. In the beginning, before the beginning of the beginning, there were words. Words that are title of books whose authors are now behind bars or have been behind bars. I'm not talking chocolate bars. These lines are not meant to entertain you. Does this story sound familiar? It is the same story my grandfather told, so they called it his story. But my people never learn. These lines don't need to be packed full with punchlines before it knocks you outside of this ring. Think outside the box. Not all rings are cyclical. Let me tell you a story. The story of 300 girls and the king in the north. Scheming politicians and kingmakers with little fingers. Celebrated thieves and chief looters. Who needs a job in this country when even monkeys are getting bank alerts? In the beginning, before the beginning, that was the beginning of the beginning, there were stories. And skies that never stopped weeping. Stories of mothers who wrote entire collections with nothing but the broken pieces of their bones as pen. Fathers who planned funerals for empty caskets. Brothers who wear their grief like factory-fitted battle armors. Sisters whose tears watered entire civilization into ruin. If the story was a book, then its title would definitely be Nigeria. But if Nigeria was a book, you would be the sole author of its pages. You could place the wildest smile your face could accommodate as the preface. These days, you don't even need words to write a book. You could write this grief into something meaningful, something beautiful, something audible. If Nigeria was a book, my brother, my sister, what would you write?
Judges, let's have it for Tiwistar. 9, 7, 8, 8. Let's have it for Ajijola the beloved. 9, 6, 8, 9. All right, so please have your seat.